Apnea settings. This video explains how to adjust apnea settings. Apnea mode is activated only in spontaneous modes. If you are going to use spontaneous mode, you must adjust apnea settings before ventilation starts. Otherwise, Biyovent will apply default values. When you press the apnea setting button, you can see the apnea settings, along with other parameters. You should also set a time interval if the patient does not trigger the device during this period in spontaneous mode. Biyovent will switch to apnea mode at the end of the period. There are two types of apnea modes. These are volume control and pressure control. Also, there are bidirectional and unidirectional ventilation apnea mode options. Bidirectional apnea mode allows the patient to switch back to the spontaneous mode by triggering the ventilation again after switching to apnea mode. In the unidirectional apnea mode, once ventilation has switched to apnea mode, the patient cannot switch back to spontaneous mode even after triggering. Let's do two simulations about these two situations. Bidirectional apnea mode. Let's start the ventilation by selecting the pressure-controlled spontaneous mode from the mode settings and assign the values from the apnea settings. Also select the bidirectional apnea mode. I will simulate the breath triggering of the patient myself. Ventilation continues normally as triggering continues. From the moment device is not triggered, ventilation stops until the apnea time. After the apnea time, the device switches to apnea mode as seen. Biyovent will alarm after switching to apnea mode. Since we are in bidirectional apnea mode, if we trigger it again, ventilation will switch back to spontaneous mode. Unidirectional apnea mode. After adjusting the settings, as in the previous example, and selecting the unidirectional apnea mode, we start ventilation and triggering. After stopping the trigger, the device switches to apnea mode and gives an alarm. As seen in case of triggering again due to the unidirectional apnea feature, Biyovent does not switch to the another mode and stays in apnea mode.